Are you looking for something besides your ordinary roast? Check this out, because we're gonna take a split certified Angus beef strip roast, coat it in a savory paste, and then reverse sear it for a perfect doneness. So simply put, a split strip is just taking a full strip roast or strip loin and splitting it down the middle to make it a little bit more consistently shaped and easy to cook. So to make this paste that we're gonna use on the roast, we're gonna slowly roast some garlic and shallot. Technically, we'll be kind of doing a confit because we're gonna cook them in some fat in the oven to create this really savory spread that will almost act as a marinade and a crust on the roast when it's done cooking. All right, shallot, kind of same deal. And just take off top the root. Basically, we're just trying to cut this into like 1/2-inch segments. You want it the same size as the garlic, so it all kind of cooks at the same time. And then the nice thing is that this can be done ahead of time, and it will also slow cook in an oven that will be preheating now for your roast. All right, so there is your ingredients for that. So we'll get these right in the middle of the foil. What we're gonna do is take a little bit of olive oil. That'll help the cooking process and kind of give them that confit that I was talking about, and then hit them with a little bit of salt, which will not only season, but help bring out a little moisture. And now you're just gonna make this into a little bundle. So just fold up the sides, and then kind of crimp it right in the middle. That way they steam a little bit and none of that escapes, because again, you don't want it to burn. Put it on a sheet pan so when it goes into the oven, if any oil drips or any of the juices come out, they don't hit your oven and burn. And then we'll just go into a preheated oven and slowly roast these. So here is our garlic and shallot mixture. And see, just go ahead and open that up. See that it's caramelized a little bit, roasty, all gotten nice and soft. Lots of flavor in there. Now we're gonna start the sauce, or the paste. So first in, we're gonna get a little oil. Okay, a tablespoon of soy sauce. Now I'm just gonna eyeball this stuff. Tablespoon of Worcestershire. And we go 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Dijon will add a nice little bit of acidity and just kind of a nice flavor. I find that I'm a big fan of Dijon as a coating to a roast. Now, to try and get this a little bit smoother, we're gonna blend this first for just a second here to combine these ingredients. So make sure it's on low. So now those are combined. So now go in with that roasted garlic, shallot, get everything in there, coming off of this foil. And then even, there's a little bit of oil on the pan still. Yeah, there's not much, but any of that oil that it was roasting in, we want that in there too. And we're just gonna blend this to a smooth puree. It's a small amount of liquid to fully puree, so you may have to stop, give it a mix just to make sure all your garlic and shallots are getting fully chopped up. And this is gonna make more than you need for this recipe, but you could always save it for later and use it for another application, or even just throw this in a Ziploc and freeze it. So first things first, I've got a sheet pan with a wire rack. That's how we're gonna cook this reverse sear. But also, just to help with cleanup, I'm gonna go ahead and put some foil down onto this pan. That way, if anything drips down from that roast, it'll catch on the foil and make cleanup easier instead of burning to that pan. Okay, so we got that lined. So I'm gonna use this guy here. Now, I'm gonna go on with some of this paste. There might be a couple extra chunks of garlic in here, but that's all right. Just try and avoid those. Get a nice smooth, even coating of this paste. You don't want it completely dripping because now you're gonna need to season it with some salt and pepper. And this is where it would benefit maybe some time in the fridge overnight. Just again, to let all these flavors come in. The salt's gonna draw out a little bit of the moisture, and then it's gonna all get pulled back into the roast. So when that moisture comes back in a little bit, it'll help pull some of these flavors with it. So if you can, highly suggest giving it the overnight season. And this is why I didn't put any additional like salt and pepper in this paste because now I want to season exactly how much I would a regular roast. So the paste does have some sodium from the Worcestershire, from the soy sauce, but it's not going to be that much. So I want to physically salt and pepper my roast, not rely on this savory puree to season the roast for me. So there we have our split strip roast. We're gonna go ahead into a 275-degree oven and reverse sear this. Pull it out and then we'll apply a sear. Now this is cooked for a little over an hour. We've come up to 110 degrees internally. So now I'm gonna pull this roast and we're gonna set it aside and let it rest while we preheat the oven to give it its final sear application. Now that it's had time to sear and develop that crust in the oven, we're gonna put it onto the cutting board and let it rest again. Because again, we don't wanna cut in too fast and lose all those juices we worked so hard to keep on the inside of this roast. I like my roast more to the medium rare end, so I let it rest and come up to 125 degrees. Now, the grain of the strip runs in this direction. If it was a whole strip, you would have that other side right here. So again, the grain runs that way and you cut against it. That's how you would cut steaks. That's how you cut slices of this roast. And the benefit to having a split strip roast over a full strip is that if you're looking for something smaller like this, where it's maybe a 2-pound strip roast, if it were a whole strip, it would be a big block. It would be a lot more square and a little bit harder to slice and not cook quite as evenly or as quickly. So having it split down the middle like this makes the split strip really convenient for smaller roasts. It's great as a full large roast, but when it's these kind of more petite roasts, the split strip really performs very well. So I'll carve this maybe 1/2 inch. No need to go super thin for slices because it is gonna be super tender, but you can go thinner if you wanna turn it into some kind of secondary meal prep. If you want to do it for sandwiches or turn it into stir fry or anything of the sort, throw it on salads. You could cut it really, really thin, but since I'm just going right onto the plate, I'm gonna cut it about 1/2 inch because that's what I like for a slice of a roast. All right? Oh, look at that roast. Look how perfect that is. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of this Himalayan salt to finish. Reverse sear on a split strip roast like this really creates that perfect edge-to-edge doneness, and that puree of all those savory flavors really take this roast to the next level. Want to find out where to buy the best beef? Check out the Where to Buy tab on CertifiedAngusBeef.com.